Hello, Bruins. I'm Julie Sina, and I'm here with my good friends Joe and Josie, coming with gratitude to thank you for taking the time to read scholarship applications. This has been a year, right? It was about a year ago when George and I welcomed you to do the same, to read these scholarship applications remotely. And what a year it has been, where our whole lives have been about that and ever so many other things. But one thing has stayed true. One thing we know for sure is this incredible Bruin strength. We're so grateful for the way that you always say yes when we ask you to volunteer. And one of our very favorite volunteer opportunities is what you're going to be doing over the weekend, which is to read scholarship applications that really will provide an opportunity for aspiring Bruins to do exactly what you did, to make this UCLA experience that they've been dreaming about a reality, and to hopefully do very soon what you've done, and that is to follow in your footsteps on this incredible campus and being part of this amazing Bruin community. So thank you for saying yes. Thank you for raising your hand. Thank you for volunteering. And thank you for being part of leading this incredible Bruin community. It's what we do. And now, a man who needs absolutely no introduction. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. George Brown. George?
Thank you, Julie. I must say, meeting with you is so much fun because I just feel this glow when you introduce me. But in my home, I don't have that same effect on the members of my family. But thank you guys so much.
That's another meeting, George.
That's a counseling session. But thank you guys so much for taking this opportunity to train to read these applications, which you're about to do in just a couple of weeks. And then the second thing is thank you, like Julie said, for always saying yes. There would be no program without you, right? These students are selected by you, and we appreciate the time that you invest in this process. Some of you guys for many, many years, and others, this will be your first of many, many years to come. The purpose of the training video is really to set a baseline. So everyone is starting with the same understanding about the students that you're going to be reading through this process and how to score them fairly. Because we want to ensure that no matter who you read, each student is graded with the same experience, right? And we want to be consistent with the process. We will try to keep the training concise and not use a lot of your time. But when you walk away with it, you should have a basic understanding of how to move forward with the process. It was just a year ago that Julie and I were sitting in her office recording the same welcome video, and now we're doing it from separate locations. I can't tell you how excited I am to be moving in a direction that will lead us back to campus. I miss the connection with all of you, and I miss the connection with our alumni scholars. But one thing that has held true through this virtual experience is the fact that ASC, the Alumni Scholars Club, has really focused on creating a community for its scholarship recipients. Through many online events and workshops and connections with you, they have been able to continue with the sense of community and find belonging on campus. Some students who have never even set foot on the campus yet, and some who we will graduate without us seeing again in person. But the one thing that remains clear in my mind is that the Alumni Scholars Club is a family. It's a family while they're students, and it's a family after they leave. And that family wouldn't be in existence if you weren't giving your time over the weekend to read these applications. So with that, I just want to wish you good luck. At the end of the training video, you will need to certify that you have watched the training, and then that will advance you to receive a communication from the Office of Scholarship and Financial Aid to go on to the portal and review applications. So thank you and good luck. And if you have any questions along the way, my email address and contact information will be at the end of the training video. Feel free to reach out. I am here to be of service to you. Thank you, and go Bruins. Yes.
Can we make one more ask before we go Bruins?
Yes.
And I think, one of the things I was reflecting on, George, as you were talking is we're going to need all of you to come back and hopefully in the fall, hopefully in person as much as you are able. We know we'll always be somewhat hybrid, but to really bring that spirit in that Bruin community, to really launch this next year for what will be almost 2 years of Bruins that have yet to experience what you experienced being a part of this Bruin community. So we're counting on you to raise your hand and to say yes again when we build this Bruin community up in the fall. And you welcome these alumni scholars into that legacy that you've created. So thank you, GB.
Thank you, Julie. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Hello, Bruins. My name is George Brown, and I'm the director of the Alumni Scholars Program. And today I have the pleasure of going through this training video with you. This is the 2021 Alumni Scholarships Application Review Training. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know you didn't have a choice. However, I appreciate the time that you're investing in order to move forward with the review process. Some of you guys have experienced the training before. And for that, I'm sorry if this is repetitive information, but it's important for us to all kind of start on the same page every year. So I'm going to try to make this as brief and thorough as possible. I really want to paint a picture of the type of student that you're going to be looking at through this review process, what you're going to be scoring and evaluating these students on, and talking about some of the most asked questions. So hopefully by the end of the video, you'll be in a good place and feel comfortable moving forward with the process. If you don't, please reach out. I will give you guys my email address at the end of this training. The link to this training will be sent from an email from me. So you can always reach out if you have further questions about the information that I've gone over with you today. So let's get started. The agenda for today's training, the first thing we're going to do is a brief staff introduction. I'll tell you a little bit about some of the key people that are working on this program, as well as what they do. The next portion will be the process for this year. And then we'll touch upon other volunteer opportunities, the main one being the following month in April, we're going to be reviewing community college transfer applications. So if you have a great experience with this and want some more, I invite you to participate in the review process for transfer students. You'll find that it's a very different type of student. So I think that you will enjoy it. It'll give you kind of an overview on everybody that's coming into UCLA in the undergraduate experience. Like I mentioned, my name is George Brown. I'm the director of the Alumni Scholars Program. And I have the pleasure of working with the students that you select, either the 4 years if they're incoming freshmen, or the 2 years if they're community college transfer students. One of the things that we do in the Alumni Scholars Program is really work on developing these student leaders that you are about to select. So several years ago, we really took a look at what is it that we look for in these students, and what are we doing to enhance that while they're students here at UCLA? And so the Alumni Scholars Program, it's a club that you're drafted into. So everybody that's receiving a scholarship is automatically a member. And it's really focused on developing relationships between current students and UCLA alumni like yourself. I think that is one of the special things about this program being an alumni scholarship program, is that our students have access to all of you. Anna Hamilton, she is the program coordinator for the Alumni Scholars Program. So all of the different activities that we do during the year, she helps manage the logistics of those. She was included in the initial email that was sent out to you asking you to participate, and her email address was provided there if you had further questions. But she's really an asset to the program in helping to keep everything organized and running smoothly throughout the year. And then finally, Tamara Singh, she is a program manager at the UCLA Financial Aid and Scholarships Office. And she's really going to be managing the selection process and the awarding of the scholarships to those students who are selected. Tamara has been at the university for a number of years, and she originally started working on only this program, and then has expanded her role through the years. But this is still a focus of her daily responsibilities. So a little bit about the program. The Alumni Scholarship Program started in 1936 with actually 2 awards of $150 each. Dedicated alumni and donors and volunteers came together to enhance and create a program that was able to, over the years, fund more students. However, the value of the program has remained the same since 1936. Dedicated alumni selecting the next Bruin leaders and awarding them financially to support their educational experience at UCLA. So let's talk a little bit about some of the benefits of being an alumni scholar. While the monetary portion of the scholarship is important to many of our students, what we'll find is that really the special thing about being an alumni scholarship recipient is everything that happens beyond that financial award. Scholars are involved in campus events and organizations. They increase their connection to the university and build their leadership skills while they're at UCLA. So when they leave and they graduate, whether they're going to grad school or they're going out into the workforce, they're better prepared to tackle whatever it is that is their next step. So as we were talking, benefits, membership in the Alumni Scholars Club, access to cutting edge leadership development and programming, alumni to student mentoring, networking opportunities with UCLA alumni, and eligibility to receive an additional need-based grant of up to $5,000 a year. The scholarship itself is merit-based, so we are need blind. We don't look at a student's financial need at all when making a decision on whether or not they should receive an alumni scholarship. However, if they have been selected as an alumni scholar based on their merit, and they still have a financial need, there's additional support for these students through our need-based grant program. The first year, they don't have to fill out any additional applications. We do it all for them. And we take a look and try to replace some of their bad money. And bad money would be loans and work study. So first, we would reduce the amount of loans they have. And then after that, we would try to reduce their work study amount so they could focus more on their education and not so much on a job. But it really is an added benefit for our alumni scholars that do have a financial need. The remaining years, so their second, third, and fourth year, if they're an incoming freshman, or their second year, if they're a community college transfer student, they will have to apply for the Lou and Edie Wasserman grant. However, they get numerous touch points of communication from both me as their advisor in the Alumni Scholars Program, as well as from financial aid, letting them know the deadlines and to fill out an application. And just by the nature of our program, they are so much more involved than your general student that they tend to do very successfully through that application process. Like I mentioned just before, this is a merit-based scholarship, so we're not looking at financial need, right? We are just looking at their accomplishments in either their high school or their community college career. And we're focused on two groups, incoming freshmen and community college transfer students. The freshman awards range from $6,000 to $20,000, and that's paid over 4 years. So their scholarship award is divided into 4 payments. We pay over 3 quarters, so fall, winter, and spring. And then the transfer students, their award is $6,000, and that's paid over the 2 years that they're at UCLA. Let's talk briefly about the selection cycle this year. So the scholarship application deadline was March 5th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. So by then, all students will have had to submit their application for consideration in the process. Students found out about this in numerous ways. The information is available on our website. If you search any of the scholarship engines out there on the internet, our scholarship pops up, as well as getting a personal email from the financial aid office talking about this scholarship opportunity. So with that being said, their application was due on the 5th of March, and they will actually tentatively get their notification to UCLA on the 19th of March. That's an estimated date. There are many variables that can impact that, but as far as we know moving forward, we're looking at the 19th of March as for students to find out whether or not they've been admitted to UCLA. We start reviewing applications immediately after that, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why that is, but the application notifications come out on the 19th. We need to be ready to go on the 20th of March, and we have a very short window of time in which we can review applications. So we only have from March 20th to March 21st. So you'll have 2 full days to read applications, which is more than manageable. You won't be bombarded with applications to read. But we only have that short window of time because we want to get those student notifications out the following week. So the week of March 22nd, towards the end of the week, we will notify students that have been selected to be alumni scholars. Why is this important? Many students are dependent upon financial support in order to make the decision to commit to UCLA, right? So finances are important. And we have accelerated our process so we can be more impactful in the student's decision on whether or not they are going to attend UCLA. So there are students that receive our scholarship that still decide to go elsewhere, and we fill those spots with other students. So even though out of the however many students we end up with, last year it was close to 6,000 applications, we awarded the top 150 students. Now, initially, all of those didn't come in, but your scores on each student are important because as students decline the award, we will move further down your ranking list in order to offer those scholarships to other students. Bruin Day. This is a day where families, the student and their families, are invited to campus. That is going to be scheduled for April 10th, 2021. There's no doubt that it will be a virtual experience for students this year, and that's because of the pandemic that we've been going through. But historically, it has been an exciting in-person event where we actually have the honor and privilege to welcoming all of these students on campus. For some students, they already know where they're going, and this is just an opportunity to visit it in person and feel that Bruin spirit. For some students, they're on the fence. They haven't made a decision yet, and Bruin Day is there to help make them want to come to UCLA. Again, it will be virtual this coming year. And then finally, important date for you guys to know is May 1st. And that is the SIR, Student Statement of Intent to Register. And this is where they actually commit to whatever college they want to attend in the fall. That's May 1st. That is true, holds true for all universities. So after that May 1st deadline, we will know which students that we've awarded will not be coming to UCLA, and that will give us the opportunity to pass those awards down to the next highest ranking student. Let's take a few minutes and go over the scoring rubric. It's very simple. You were going to get a copy of this, or you got a copy of this with the link to this training video. So you can print it out or put it up on your screen as you're going through applications. But this is going to help you with the criteria that you are going to be judging. All right, so very important. The categories that you're going to be looking at or reviewing through this application review process is going to be extracurricular activities, volunteer work and community service, unpaid, honors and awards, employment, if they have any. Some students will not have any employment. They have just focused on school. Additional information, right? So students have the opportunity to talk a little bit about any circumstances that have made their educational journey a challenge. You are able to take that into consideration. And then finally, their response to 2 short essays. So those are the areas that you're going to be reviewing as you go through these applications. A couple of things that I wanted to point out that are important. My suggestion to you, especially if this is your first time reading applications, is to skim through some of the applications before you start scoring, right? If you haven't done this before, most of the applications that we get are impressive, right? Especially if you have nothing to compare it to. These students have been involved in clubs and organizations within their high school or community college. They've done volunteer work. Some of them have even started nonprofits and published books. And it all seems very impressive. But when you start to look at the applicants compared to each other, then what's impressive changes. And by you going through a few applications on the front end, it will allow you to kind of see the breadth of the students that you're actually reviewing through this process. So what may have been a 100 out of 100 student, if that was the first application you read, then after you've read a few more, you might find that that 100 student that you thought was perfect in the beginning is really now an 87, right? And so going through a few of them in advance will kind of give you a feel for what you're looking at. There's going to be 3 areas in which you're actually going to put a numeric score, okay? The first one is extracurricular activities and community service. That is a 50-point category. So that's half of their score right there, okay? And the reason why there's so much emphasis on that is because we're not looking at grades and test scores. Obviously, if they were admitted into UCLA, they're a strong student, right? UCLA has become so competitive that there are no weak students that are admitted. They are all accomplished. They have all done extraordinary things in their local context. However, some students you'll find are all academic, right? And they may not be the strongest candidates for an alumni scholarship. And the reason for that is because we want to select students that are not only strong academically, but also believe in the full development of them as a student, as well as serving and giving back to their community. Because honestly, when they graduate, we want them to be like you, involved in their university, volunteering, giving, contributing in ways that make UCLA a stronger community. So that's 50 points. Honors and awards is a 10-point section. I am going to, or attached to the email that provided the link to this training video, is a glossary of terms. So that's created by undergraduate admissions, and it basically has many of the extracurricular activities, honors, and awards that students will put down on their application, just in case you may not have an understanding of what those are. That list is not inclusive of everything. It updates, and there are new things each and every year. But we try to go back and review that list and update it as we can. So that way it is an assistant tool for you through this review process. Essays. So remember, I had mentioned that they are going to write 2 short essays. That's a total point value of 40. Each essay is worth 20 points. Included in the email, you also got a copy of this scoring rubric, excuse me. And this really is to help you understand and break down what you should be looking for in each of those categories. So the first one, for instance, extracurricular activities and community service. What was their depth of involvement? Were they just a member of an organization, or were they a leader in that organization, right? Were they an officer? Were they the president or the vice president? Did they start a new organization? Okay, so that's really what you're judging those 50 points on. Were they a member, or were they involved at a higher capacity? Did they start the organization? Do their accomplishments facilitate achievements for others, right? So are they not only growing within the organization themselves, are they leading that organization and leading its members to be stronger members of whatever it is that they are participating in, okay? Are their accomplishments unique, right? Is it an exceptional commitment? It's one thing if they participated in something 1 hour a week, but some of these students you'll find are volunteering or participating in something 15, 20 hours a week over the course of a long period of time. And finally, has there been growth in whatever these activities or service projects are? So did they start as a member and progress over their years of participation? Or did they kind of just become a member here and a member there and spread out their involvement, but really didn't lock in and develop in any one thing. So those are some things that you're going to want to consider as you're giving those points. Next, honor and awards. Are there achievement and recognition for leadership, right? So was it just an award for getting a 3.5, or was it an award for starting a new organization or receiving the top honor in their high school or in the state? So you're going to want to take a look at those things to see what that honor was. And again, this is where it's helpful to look through some of your applications before you get started with the scoring process, because what you'll see is some applicants have the same thing, right? And to me, that may not be as prestigious of an award. They're given the opportunity to explain the award to you. One of the things that we've told students to do is to highlight, is this something that one student in their state gets? Is this something that one student in their high school or community college get? Or is it something that everybody that achieves a minimum GPA of a 3.0 receives this honor or award? So those are some things to consider in that category. And then for your essays, again, 20 points each. You're going to want to think about, are their responses thoughtful, right? Do they make sense to you? Have they gotten their point across? Does the applicant demonstrate a passion for leadership and service? Those are two key areas that we're focusing on the students that we're selecting for this award. We want to award and appreciate involved students, because if they were involved in their high school and community college, chances are they're going to be involved at UCLA when they attend. Okay. And then finally, the creativity of the essay. You're going to read, you might read 10 to 15 applications. Did their essay stand out to you, right? Was it different than all of the other ones? Or did they just repeat information that was already in their application? So the essay section is really a chance for the student to allow you to get to know them. Were they able to accomplish that? So if you add up all of those categories, you've got 100 points, right? And that's what you're basing students on. You won't have the opportunity to give half points. So all of your scores need to be in whole numbers, and really give some thought to, is this a student that I can see coming to UCLA, getting involved in the UCLA community, and then after they graduate, wanting to give back to the university with their time, talent, and treasure. Some things to keep in mind when you're scoring the application. Some of these we've touched upon. First one is remain consistent in your scoring methodology, right? There's going to be many of you guys scoring applications. Each application will have at least 5 reads, right? So it's going to be scored by 5 different people. You may be someone that is very, very rigid on your scoring, and nobody got 100, right? But as long as you keep that same process for each application that you read, it will be okay. It will work out in the end. What you don't want to do is say, okay, this student is from California, so I'm automatically going to give them 10 extra points, right? Because you're going to be reading students, while the majority of them will be from California, you could be reviewing out-of-state students as well. So that's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to say, okay, this person has done 2 extracurricular activities, I'm going to give them 10 points. And this person has done 2 extracurricular activities, I'm going to give them 20 points. There has to be some reasoning behind why you're giving a student a particular score. And whatever that reasoning is for you in this review process needs to hold true through each and every application that you read. And that way you remain fair no matter who you've read. I would encourage you to do this at a time where you have some quiet. It is not necessarily the best practice to be cooking dinner and reading scholarship applications, or taking care of your children and reading scholarship applications. You want to give each student your full attention when you're going through this process. Utilize your glossary for extracurricular activities and awards. It's attached to the email that had the link to this training video. And it really is there for you to search. If something doesn't make sense, the student didn't do a good job of describing what an honors or award was, this glossary is there to help support you through the process. As I mentioned, there are things that students will list that may not be in this glossary. And at that point, it's up to you to use your best judgment to read what was provided as far as a description and determine what you think the numerical value of that participation should be. I mentioned this before, but all applicants will likely be impressive to a certain degree, right? So take a look at your assigned applications prior to starting to score. That will give you an idea of the application pool that you're reviewing. So that way you can make the best judgment knowing the context of your application pool. Keep an eye out for extenuating circumstances. Not all students are coming from the same environment, right? So you might find a student who is lacking on extracurricular activities, but they've also had to work, right, to support a family. Maybe it's a single parent family. Maybe it's a low income family. And so they've made this great achievement by doing well in school, but they are a little light on extracurricular activities. And that's because their time was limited. So make sure that you take that into account as you're reading through these applications. Students have the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about any special circumstance that they've had. And then finally, are the essay responses enhancing the application or rehashing it? Are they thoughtful? Did they just repeat information that is in their chart of extracurricular activities and honors and awards? Or did they actually take the time to respond in a way that gives you new information about their experience and how they're going to be as a student? While you don't have the opportunity to ask questions in a live format, you do have the opportunity to shoot me an email or shoot Anna Hamilton an email to have your questions answered. And so we'll be on standby over the next couple of weeks to respond to you in a timely manner to make sure that your questions are answered so you feel comfortable going through this process. The other thing is that the day of, when you start reading applications, your contact that point on will be Tamra Singh, who I mentioned in the beginning. She's the one who is navigating the application portal and will be able to provide technical support should you get locked out of the system or not be able to access it initially. She will be your point of contact for that. Again, you will find that information in the email that I sent out that included the link to this training video. And finally, it's one extra step, and we apologize that we actually have to do this. However, you need to certify that you have watched this training video and been provided this basic information on how to move forward with the application process. So the next slide is going to contain a web address that you go to, and it will take you to a Google form. And there you'll just enter your name and your email address and certify that you have participated in this training. That then will allow you access to the application portal on our review weekend. So just because you signed up as a volunteer doesn't give you access to that portal. You only have access after you've watched this video and respond to that confirmation. The Alumni Scholarships Program email address is alumnischolarships@support.ucla.edu. You have my personal email address in response to the email that I sent to you with this training link. Please feel free to reach out to me directly, okay? I'm here to serve you and to make sure that you get through this process seamlessly and it's an enjoyable experience for you. So please take the time to email me personally. You can just actually reply to the message that was sent and we'll get back to you right away. The volunteer certification link that I had mentioned is listed here. So I invite you to pause your video real quick and write it down. You're going to want to go to this link after you've watched the video right away and certify that you've participated in the training and then you'll be all ready to move forward in the selection process that third week of March. I hope this has provided some information that will make the process easy for you. I have promised you that I would keep this training video short and concise, and I hope that I've done that. But should you need further explanation on anything, please feel free to reach out. Again, we are here to support you through this process. And again, as Julie and I said in our welcome, we couldn't do this without you. This program wouldn't exist without participation from alumni like you. So I want to personally thank you. I know the students that I have the privilege of working with on a daily basis, thank you. And we look forward to a time that we can all come together in some normal format and see each other face to face. But until then, I am just an email away, and I am here to help you. And I thank you for your participation. Good luck to you, and go Bruins.